is a very, very exciting team, and they won the hearts of the United States of America and Canadians. There were so many Canadians last year that moved from being a Buffalo Bills fan to being a Detroit Lions fan.
Yep.
I think it's incredible. This team has spent so many years being the absolute bottom of the basement pile of absolute horse shit of an organization.
Yeah.
And has become one of the most popular teams in all of football. How does that even happen?
Sully.
On the back of Kid Rock and Eminem.
That's
right? But like
on the back of Eminem.
That's how. Yeah, ba with the ba, baby.
Sully, mark my words.
Okay.
Come February 6th, or whenever it is, in New Orleans, in the Superdome,
Detroit will be there.
The Cleveland Browns will play the Detroit Lions.
Oh my God! This is the whole world. Just everything's collided and collapsed, and this would be the biggest.
That's how far they've gone.
That's the epitome of the United States of America.
3 years ago, from Hard Knocks being the absolute arse end of this league, the butt of every single joke, and how Detroit could never get any success in the NBA, in the freaking anything, in the NFL,
in drinkers of clean water.
Yeah, this is the turnaround. This is the turnaround. I think that they have one of the most complete rosters. I think there's still a lot of holes. Don't get me wrong. But I think they had a fucking awesome draft, and I think they've put up a lot of them. It's going to take a while to get going, but I think once it's rolling, they're rolling. Let's get into it. So
last year, let's just pay some respect to what happened last year. This team went out. They used the first round pick on a running back.
Yep.
Where everybody was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep. Great player, but not there.
I don't know. I think
we were wrong. We were wrong.
Yeah. We were wrong. Yeah, we were wrong. This running back is I would call him a generational talent.
Sad. I wouldn't go that far, but he's a top 5 fantasy running back.
This year, you will see, I think, what you kind of got glimpses of last year. Dan Campbell said it. We're putting the reins on him. We're not giving him all the touches we want to. Yeah. We want him to get comfortable. We want him to start hitting the holes with a lot more confidence. We want him to start slowing down behind the line of scrimmage to start making better decisions. And by the end of the year, guy was running like Lev Bell in his prime.
Yep.
He was insane. It was incredible to watch. He's going to have a fantastic season. So, number one. So they killed it there. Then they draft a tight end where everyone was like, what are you doing? Like, we have holes on defense that we need to fill. You're drafting a goddamn tight end here?
Man, the
like,
second pick was a freaking linebacker, and everyone was losing. It was Jack Campbell, who, by the way, was one of the highest ranked linebackers in the league last year, according to PFF.
They killed their draft. What was LaPorta in the 4th?
Insane. Yeah. Huh?
LaPorta, was he in the 4th or the 3rd?
So then they drafted Brian Branch in the second round. They had 2 first-round picks. They went Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm just going off the top of my head here. They went Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell. Then I thought they went Brian Branch, who, again, fucking killed it. He should have been the first-round pick. And then I think they had LaPorta in there as well, yeah.
Yeah. So on the offense, you've got now arguably the most productive tight end in all of football.
Yeah.
He is. Like, you look at the stats, his production level.
The number 1 fantasy tight end.
Why wouldn't you? Like, why wouldn't
I wouldn't, but.
Well, so statistically and historically, first-year tight ends are the most underperforming position in all of football.
Yep.
You got a guy that came in first year.
Yeah.
Blocked better than any tight end on the team.
Oh, man, that's Ben Johnson just fucking coached a clinic last year.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
So caught almost everything that was thrown at him. His yards after catch were insane.
Yeah.
Like, he was a monster in this, like, when he was playing in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
It just looked like he was always open.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you look at those picks, all 4 of those first picks that they had last year, and they were all home runs.
Yeah.
The team goes out, performs above expectations. Then you come into this offseason.
Yeah.
And then what did they do, John?
So, again, they just freaking killed the draft again. And this is what I was saying. So last year, Defensively, they started really well, particularly in the run game. Aiden Hutchinson was killing it. They were doing okay in the passing game as well, but it fell apart after the bye week. After the bye week, they were one of the easiest teams to throw on. They were not getting any traction from their corners, and they addressed it immediately. They brought in pick number 24, round one, was Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. I loved him. He was my number two corner behind Quinyon Mitchell. Then,
and that late too, that's a great pick.
Then they go and draft one of my absolute favorite corners at like sleeper corners in Ennis Rakestraw with the 61st pick in the second round out of Missouri. I thought Rakestraw's game, I know a lot of people weren't really on him because he's a bit slower than the other corners who went in the first round. But for a second round talent, I think he's probably one of the best. They then draft another tackle in Giovanni Manu out of British Columbia, Canadian. And then they get Sione Vaki as well at running back. And then from there, a bunch of other dudes, but they added dudes as well. And so like they had a fantastic draft. I love the combination of Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw.
Those top 3 picks that they picked this year, I think they're all going to be studs.
Yeah.
They crushed this draft.
And following on from what you were saying about Sam LaPorta as well, I mean, this is the best offensive line in the league, and I don't see how you can even debate it. So they've got Penei Sewell, who is arguably the best right tackle at the moment. Frank Ragnow at center is fantastic. They've got Graham Glasgow they brought in as well. Taylor Decker has still been playing for years and years and years as a phenomenal player. And there was a fantastic YouTube video. I wish I could remember who did it. It might have been Brett Coleman. It might have been someone else. And they were basically showing the Detroit Lions versus the Los Angeles Chargers game where Ben Johnson was just coaching an absolute clinic. They smashed him. And it was on the back of running the ball with David Montgomery, but mainly Jahmyr Gibbs. It was Jahmyr Gibbs' breakout game. And the way they used Sam LaPorta at tight end to block and move him in motion, they were using all these different tight end motions, lining him up with Penei Sewell. And then it's just Penei Sewell and Sam LaPorta fucking going.
Charging.
On the Chargers defense, just blocking the shit out of them, and Jahmyr Gibbs just ripping off like 10-yard gain, 15-yard gain, 5-yard gain, just over and over again and tearing them apart. It's one of the best videos.
It's gonna happen again.
Link it because it's so good.
Yeah, and that's it. I think you right there, you just hit the foundation of what they're going to do this year.
Oh yeah.
They found their stride towards the end of the season in the run game.
Yeah.
I cannot see them abandoning that and turning their back because they've only gotten better. Like they took them half the season to develop what they had.
Right.
But by the end of last year, that was probably the most fun running. And to me, it used to be the 49ers and the Rams watching all those players go in motion.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. Like watching the amount of blocks that were happening.
Right.
And the amount of space that Gibbs and Montgomery were both given.
Yep.
And Monty, sometimes on those ISOs and the trap, he had like, a 5-foot gap to run through on the inside.
And they were committed to the bit. Like,
oh yeah, committed.
Like, let's go back over the last season. So week 1, opening night, they go into Kansas City and they beat the Chiefs on the back of David Montgomery.
On the ground.
They had a tough game week 2 against the Seahawks. Seahawks went to them. It went to overtime, and Geno to Tyler Lockett caught the game winner there. They then went to Atlanta. Sorry, then they had the Falcons come to them. They smashed them 20-6. They beat the Packers. They beat the Panthers, who the Panthers were a freaking good defense. And I mean, by week 11, they were 2-9. 9-2, I should say.
9-2. Yeah, they were not 2-9. They were 9-2.
They had a bit of a slump. And then after the bye week, it did kind of start to fall apart a little bit. Green Bay got them back. Chicago got a win over them, but those are divisional. We can handle that.
They started throwing the ball a ton.
They had that game against Dallas. They should have won. We just talked about the Dallas game as well, where it was Taylor Decker who caught the game-winning touchdown. It got called back because apparently he was ineligible. He didn't report. Apparently he did. We'll never know. Whatever. But yeah, teams realized they couldn't run the ball on them. Aiden Hutchinson was doing an amazing job. And DJ Reader as well. They couldn't get through. So,
John, do you remember that stretch? Do you remember that stretch where we were riding on the back of Josh Reynolds?
Yes, man. Yes. You remember my Josh Reynolds takes?
Yeah, we could do that because at one point it's almost like they abandoned what they were really good at.
Yep.
They started throwing the ball a ton.
Yep.
And so you could start collecting the WR3s for their over 2 catches.
Yep.
Sometimes 1.5.
Yeah.
And you could start just cashing. And it felt at that point when we were sitting there talking about Josh Reynolds week after week, I was like, this team lost their identity.
Yeah.
Well, because it just didn't feel right.
Yep.
But they got it back. They got it back. The last 4 games of the season.
Yeah.
Were monsters for them.
So it's great that you bring that up because we've actually kind of buried the lead here. Jared Goff is playing some insane football. He's playing like a first overall pick, sorry. And it's exactly what you were saying. So the first half of the season, Jared Goff, his passing lines were sitting around 260 and 250. And for the first 5 weeks, he only went over in that Seahawks game, which was a shootout. Every other week he went under. And then they really changed their philosophy because the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games of their season, his lines were sitting around sort of 250, and he went over every single time. His pass attempts were about 33 and a half. He was going over that. He only had 1 game pretty much in the entire season where he didn't throw more than 1 touchdown. So
it was a weird identity crisis loss that happened. Yeah. And it was very bizarre. And it was strange because it was as the weather was turning, and most teams, as the weather is turning, start relying more on their ground game.
Yes.
I don't know if maybe it was just like let's just mind fuck the fuck out of everybody if they think they know us.
Yeah.
You know? Which ballsy if you do that, but it just felt weird, you know?
Well, so who were their key pieces last year in the passing game? It was
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
It was
Sam LaPorta.
And it was Jameson Williams, who was their first round pick from a few years ago, who
big breakout year for him coming.
So this is what I wanted to get to is I think that this is going to be a huge year for Jameson Williams. I think that Amon-Ra is definitely the guy. And I mean, for a fourth round pick, something like that, he's just turned into an absolute stud. They just paid him. They paid him just before Justin Jefferson as well. So they got in quickly. Got
away. We got away with murder on that.
Got away with one. Khalif Raymond's still going to be kicking around, and Khalif Raymond is a good player. They brought over Donovan Peoples-Jones from Cleveland, who again I like him as
practice squad guy.
No, I think he'll make the team. I think the practice squad guys here I'm looking at is like Darius Fountain's been kicking around from the Colts, and Traquan Smith from the Saints is also going to be there as well, trying to make the team. So at tight end, Sam LaPorta, fantastic. Brock Wright, great blocking tight end. And then James Mitchell as well, another really good blocking tight end, and Shane Zylstra, another really good blocking tight end. So they're fucking stacked at tight end.
They're stacked. Their line is stacked.
Yep. I like their backup, Hendon Hooker, as well at quarterback. I think I would like to see him get some time, but I just don't think it's going to happen. They drafted him on the basis that Jared Goff was not going to really amount to much.
I don't think they're going to play Goff very much in the preseason.
No.
I don't think a lot of the starters.
We'll get to the preseason. I was going to say I can tell you, but no, we'll get to that.
Anyway, so I think you and I are looking at the same thing. Well, I think when we look at the Lions here, we think the exact same way. And from last year to this year, same thing. How they ended that season last year was sad. You know,
they were one fucking fluke. Brandon Ayuk, helmet, catch, interception, whatever.
They deserved that game. They deserved that game.
They should have won. They should have won that game.
I really wanted them to see. I wanted to see them win that game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not going to happen this time. This time, the ball's going to go in their favor.
This team, for whatever reason, everybody's talking about Green Bay, and we're going to talk about Green Bay in a couple minutes here. But everybody's talking about them as being this like harrowing team from this division, and a lot of people have them going deep.
Yeah.
But how the hell could you even think about calling them better than the Lions? Like the Lions were and are, they've only improved. They haven't lost anything of value. So this team is only getting better. The same philosophy. Yeah. They're coming into training camp already knowing the playbooks inside and out.
Yeah.
Man, this is like the storm, the perfect storm here for the Lions.
Yeah.
This team they might finish top of the entire league this year.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's going to be between them and the 49ers. I think the Packers will be there as well, though. And the Cowboys, we're basically talking about it on this show. I think it's the Cowboys, 49ers, it's the freaking Lions, it's the Packers. I think they're going to be the best ones.
Yep. No, I mean, Packers are bland, but yeah, Lions, 100%. I think you could put some stock in this team winning this division. That is a futures bet that I would gladly take.
Yeah.
Gladly take. You put the farm on it.
So their win total is 10.5.
Love it.
Break into that. So they will play Sunday Night Football week 1 against the Rams. That's going to be freaking insane. They've got the Rams coming to Detroit as well. That'll be an interesting game as well, because there's a bit of controversy behind the Stafford's coming back to Detroit.
There's blood there. Yeah.
Then they play the Bucks. I think that should be a good game for them. Then they play the Cardinals, and then they play the Seahawks. There's a
crush them
going into their bye week 5. Yeah. And then they play the Cowboys after their bye week. So they're going to have a week to prepare for that game as well. And they're going to want blood for what happened last time as well. So
they might start 0-1. But
against the Rams?
Yeah.
You think they'll lose the Rams at home?
Potentially, yeah. The Rams are sneaky good this year.
No, they are not.
I mean, that's the only one in there that I feel like there's a possibility that they lose.
I think their first loss doesn't come until week 9, potentially week 8. So week 8 they play the Titans. They could lose that.
Could you imagine 8-0?
They play the Packers week 9. They could lose that, and then they play the Texans week 10. They could lose that as well. So there's a couple of losses in there, but man, it's wide open for them.
It is wide open for them. This team is going to win 11 games easy.
Yeah. I think so. Can you give me the season total for Jameson Williams is the way that I want to play this season, I think. Or actually, can you give me Jahmyr Gibbs as well on the rushing or receiving? And I'm putting you under the pump now because I was also going to say David Montgomery is kind of I don't expect David Montgomery to go away anytime soon.
Jahmyr Gibbs, they got him for 1,085 rushing yards.
Ooh, fuck, that's a lot.
They got his receiving yards at 430.35.
Also a lot, 430.
His rushing touchdowns, they got him at 9. So the books anticipate Jahmyr Gibbs going off this year.
Yeah, they reckon he's going to go ham because that receiving line, so that would put him at around 25, 26 receptions per game.
Which is where he was at the end of the year.
Last year, he was at 30, man.
Towards the end.
Yeah, 30 per game. For the last, from week 12 onwards. And
so David Montgomery, so to put this into perspective.
Yeah, Monty, what's Monty?
Well, hold on. Let me ask the question to you before I tell you this number.
Yeah.
In relation to Jahmyr Gibbs, where do you think they have David Montgomery?
So they'll have Monty behind Jahmyr Gibbs, I have to imagine.
Okay.
Because they can't both be rushing for 1,000 yards, surely.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it might be close.
Yeah.
So Monty, they have at 786.
Okay. I like the over on that.
They have his rushing touchdowns at 10, which that's one more than Jahmyr Gibbs.
I love that. Hell yeah.
And his
punches it in.
Receiving yards are 175.
Oh, I like that as well because his receiving
175
makes sense because his line was 10.5 last season. It was 50-50.
Yeah.
50-50 on getting that though.
Yeah. So we put him clean at that spot, at which I like the rushing yards at 786.
Yeah, I love that. And
just have a couple games where he gets 150.
Last one was Jameson Williams. What's his receiving?
Let me tell you.
Because these are the three that I'm going to look at. I think this is going to be a high-powered offense. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a ton. I think they're going to be still running the ball a ton and blocking really well. So
they've got the rest of the year 738 for receiving yards.
Oh, that's pretty high.
4.5 receiving touchdowns.
738.
It seems high.
Jameson Williams in his rookie season, I mean, he was suspended. Mm-hmm. He had one catch for 41 yards. In his second season, so in the season just gone, he had 24 receptions for 354 yards. And they want to more than double that.
I mean, he probably will.
But are you going to bet that?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to have to stay away from that.
This team is going to run the fucking football this year.
Yeah. I think I'm with the Monty over.
Monty, 786.
Yeah.
Give me Monty. He's going to hit 800. No problem.
Yeah. And I think like Lions released over the offseason safety Tracy Walker, cornerback Cam Sutton, and they didn't trade for anyone. So I think you're right. Like this is largely the same team.
Same team.
Improved, healthier. They've got a great schedule.
They got a great offensive line.
An amazing offensive line.
This team is going to punish.
A great division. Minnesota's not going to be too good. Chicago, I think, will take a while to get going. Packers will be the Packers. But, and like I was just saying, like, so week 2, 3, and 4, even week 1, the Rams had a bad rushing defense. All 4 of these teams had a really bad rushing defense last year. Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Seahawks. They're going to be running the ball a ton through the first 4 weeks. So I reckon get them while you can now. Because come week 6, week 7 after the bye week, those lines for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, they're going to be really, really high.
They are going to be really high. I think every game. So Monty, it felt safe when he was at like 55 yards every single game.
Yeah.
So what's the math on that?
So the 55 by 17?
By 17. Oops. 55 by 17 is
935.
There you go. 935.
It's a good number. So he was getting 55.
Give me 50.
At the start of the season last year, and then it went up to 66.
Give me him at 50 every game, and I'll take the over. You know, if you're sitting at 49 and a half, if he's at 49 and a half every single game.
Yeah, but I'm saying he won't be because he never was at 50 last year. Like I'm looking at the lines.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's
55 to 65 is what you're going to get.
That's perfect. If we're taking the futures bet right now for him at 800 yards or 786 or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah.
Taking him on the over, that's basically saying, well, I mean, let's just do the math. I
don't know, man. This is tough because I'm looking at Jahmyr Gibbs last year from week 3 through to week 16. He went over his rushing line every single week, and it was at about
every week
7.5 was around about where it was, and he was going over.
Well, they got him for a K, right? So it's almost 1,100 yards. So Monty at this stat needs 46.23 yards a game,
right, to
break that over.
Yep,
46. He's gonna have a couple games where he gets 150 yards. You know that, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna have a couple games where he maybe gets 40, but like
it's interesting because his line is going to be around 55. So, but that doesn't make sense. So I guess that they're thinking it's going to be a bit of a
Jahmyr Gibbs.
They're looking at a changing of the guard. Yeah,
they are. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either.
I think it's going to be 50-50. I think both running backs are going to get 12 to 13 carries a game.
Okay.
That's honestly, I think if they're not running the ball 25 to 30 times a game, it won't even make sense. Like they're going to run the ball 30 times a game.
So that's your pick?
Oh yeah, I'm taking Monty
over 70. So we're both
for some reason I thought coming into this, I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought Gibbs was going to be close to 800.
I like Gibbs over 800. I don't like him.
He's at 1,100. It's too much.
I think his scrimmage yards will be like 1,300, 1,400. He'll go off in the passing game.
No, it'll be more than that because they have him at 400 and something receiving.
Yeah, so it'll be like 14 to 15.
That would be 1,600 then.
Yeah, but I don't think the majority of that is going to be in the rushing. I think it's going to be potentially receiving. Yeah.
I think he's going to have 4 catches a game. I think is going to be his target. They'll probably have him sitting at 3.5 to 4 most games.
Yeah,
but Monty's the value here. Just the disrespect on that 786, like that 46 yards a game for Monty in a system that favors him between the 20s.
Yeah.
Last
one before we move on, can you just quickly give me Jared Goff on his passing yards? Because I'm interested in this because he had a really good passing season last year. 4,500 last year, 4,400 the year before that. 32 in his first year in Detroit, but back in LA, 46 and 4,600 again.
Got 4,050 for the passing yards.
Passing out to 4,050.
Yeah, he's probably going to go
over.
Yeah. And the passing touchdowns, he's got a 25 and a half. It's tough. That's a tough one. The reason that I say that's a tough one is
20 foot. Nah. Monty punches it in.
Monty's getting his 10 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Jared Goff or Jahmyr Gibbs will probably get his 9. I see Jameson Williams getting 7.
Yeah.
I see Amon-Ra getting 11.
You know what's interesting about that line? It's 4,000, right? 4,050 is he has gone over that every single year for the last 6 years, other than his first year in Detroit.
So Vegas is seeing exactly what I'm telling you, though.
Yeah,
they understand that the key to this team succeeding and going deep is running the football.
Yeah,
that is exactly what it's saying, right? So, especially when you got 2 running backs that are close to 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that Goff's just going to be an absolute plug. The guy's still going to throw probably 230, 240 a game.
I think so. They're going to be in some close games. Again, I know I talked up Terrion, Arnold and NX Ragshaw, but they're still rookies. They're going to take a while to get going.
So, 230 times 17 is 3,910.
Right.
Oof.
But his line sits around 260.
It does, but I don't know. Something tells me 230, 240 a game.
Maybe.
That's just my gut. My gut's telling me 230, 240 a game.
Yeah. Man, I'm bullish. I'm saying that this is the Super Bowl team from the NFC.
Yeah, I think it's just going to come on the favor of the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what's your pick?
I mean, I talked you into Monty rushing, I think. I like Jared Goff over 4,000 passing yards for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there it is. So you got Jared Goff over 4,050.
I mean, especially they've got Jameson Williams at like 700, 800, whatever they have.
Well, he's the one that they think is going to basically...
Amon-Ra's going to be around 1,100.
And where's LaPorta?
Nice.
I just saw another site that had Monty at 860. Okay. And Jahmyr Gibbs at 900.
Okay. See, that's more what I'm feeling, more what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So this is on DraftKings. I just pulled this up.
Like, I can see Jahmyr Gibbs getting 1,000. So 900 is a really nice buffer.
Mm-hmm.
It's the over 1,000 I start to get a bit weary of.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, they got him at 900, so it's...
Yeah, beautiful. That's a great number. I'll take that.
I'm still not off Monty.
Okay, so we're both going over rushing for the running backs. I'm going over 900 for Jahmyr Gibbs. You're going over 7...
No, it's 8, so it's 800. Let's call it 800 because that's in the middle between the two sites that I just saw.
Yeah,
and it'll probably go up as the off season goes on.
Yep.